Baie dankie vir daai introduction. Wat ek gaan doen van my kant af, ek gaan my skerm deel, maar ek gaan ook my video afsit, sodat ek seker maak dat wat ek sê en wat ek doen hier op die skerm word deur almal baie goed gesien en gehoor. So, let me share this screen and start my PowerPoint presentation. So, guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix my languages so that I make sure that everybody in the room can understand and follow what I'm trying to get across. So let me start by saying that we are talking about the future of physical trading. And if you talk about the future of physical trading, you have to define the roles within this environment that we are operating in. And first of all, very important, it's production. Then there's a storage component in this physical process or supply chain. But very importantly, there's a logistical component as well. But last but definitely not the least is the processes in our process of marketing physical product. So we're currently in just the starting point in the agricultural environment in what we call the fourth industrial revolution. And I think there's many examples in the world where technology has changed the role players completely, but the functions stayed the same. So there's still a need for a foreigner to go to a specific a country or town, but he can decide through Airbnb where he would like to stay and get it much cheaper and easier and with proficiency. So Airbnb changed the role players within the market. The same with Uber, and you can perhaps recall many other examples how technology changed the role players. So my first opinion is that the tempo of changing is most definitely picking up in the agricultural environment. When we start developing match exchange, there wasn't the many role players that's currently in the market, and I can see that everybody is looking at the same problems and at the same processes and how to improve that with technology. And when the paradigm shifts, it's time for new role players to come into the market or redefining the current role players' role within the supply chain. So first of all, with match exchange, we are not making any assumptions who will be the role players in the next 3 or 5 or 10 years. We're creating a platform for the market to decide who the role players will be. There's great examples in the South African context how the paradigm provide accessibility for new role players, and myself and my team, how we created Grainco in 2000 with a zero balance sheet and competing against companies with massive balance sheets is testimony on how you can enter a market when the paradigm shifted. And the same with storage. At some point, the silo bags entered the market and completely changed the face of storage and handling in South Africa. So it is, my opinion is that the market is going to re-evaluate the whole supply chain. And what we are doing with the match exchange is to provide a platform for every participant to re-evaluate your own value packet that you offer to the market, or perhaps for a change and in focus of current participants and see how we can improve the market. And what I can tell you from my perspective, if you don't realize that the ground is shaking, you are dead in the water. I think if you're not realizing that the fourth industrial revolution is 100% upon us within South Africa and that things is never going to be the same, is very important. So you have two choices. You either have to be one of the tech companies driving the change, and congratulations on my two colleagues that presented their companies previously. I think it's fantastic technology. And guys, I understand what it takes to get where you guys are. It takes a lot of money, a lot of effort, but most importantly, it takes knowledge of the industry where you're operating in. But this other choice that you have is to make use of the technology. So if you don't understand the environment that you're operating and how it's changing, and not evaluating all possibilities or options in this technology environment, I also think you are dead in the water, because technology is going to drive the change. So at least if you know you have to act, I think you've taken a huge leap forward. You have to change the way that you're currently doing things. And if you don't do that, I think you are dead in the water. So what's the missing piece in the South African context? Because I think technology already demonstrated to us that SAFEX is, in my opinion, as some of the other speakers also said, one of the best first world tools that's operating in South Africa. But there's a lot of controversial coupled to, let's say, basis and the transport differential, etc. That has nothing to do with the fantastic instrument that SAFEX is. It's because we don't have instruments currently in the market that can establish a true basis that can be trusted. So why is that important? I think if a basis price at a specific point represents all the supply and demand factors at that specific point. But if you change the point, there might be different demand and supply factors coupled to that other point that I'm referring to. For example, if you create your basis point at the farm, the only supplier at that point is the farmer, and all other factors is part of the demand side. For example, the person that would like to mill it, the transporter that would like to transport it, the trader that would like to do the deal, the silo operator that would like to store the grain. All those parties is on the demand side, and only the farmer is on the supply side. But if you change that point to, for example, at the processing plant of Tiger Milling in Randfontein, all things change. All of a sudden, the only demand at that point is Tiger Milling, or perhaps the trader that has the contract with Tiger Milling. But all the other role players is part of the demand side, including the farmer, the silo operator, the transporter, and the trader. Is all part of the cost processes within that process of establishing the basis at point of consumption or milling at that point. So what we have as the match exchange is a tool. It's a tool for the market to discover that price, whether it's a basis price or fixed price, but it's a tool. And I can compare this tool, for example, to a smartwatch. A smartwatch is a tool, but we all use that tool differently. Some people is walking around with a smartwatch, but only use that to watch the time, or to make sure what the time is. Other people use it to become fitter and more healthy, and then you get the extremes like Olympic athletes that take the smartwatch to the next level of competing. And you have Discovery Health that uses the smart watch to improve his offering and service to the market and bring down prices, for example, for life insurance, etc. So MX is a tool, and I would like you guys, and you are from different, you are different role players in the market. So you might be sitting here as a trader, or you might be sitting here as a farmer or a processor or a risk manager or a financier. And I would like to ask you guys to see how the tool can work for you. And afterwards we can have one-to-one discussions as well. Because I feel that we have a perfect tool for the South African environment to establish what the basis price is, or what the fixed price is at a certain point, and get as many as possible participants in the process of establishing that specific price point at that specific place of availability of demand. So one of our very important features that I would like to emphasize is that what we do, we make the whole supply chain visible. So every aspect in the supply chain will be visible. So you will start to realize what the different roles is, what each market participant plays, but the market will evaluate what you ask for that role and what you provide the market. So it provides an opportunity for all role players to evaluate their own services, but also for new potential entrance into the market to see if they can do it better. And our opinion is that the more participants you have using the tool, the more benefit you can provide the market, even above our own imagination, because more people are getting into the system in improving the system. For example, whoever thought that a Zimbabwean guy or a Pakistani guy can navigate in London or New York a taxi as good as the taxi driver does that's been operating for 20 years in the streets of London or New York. So we empower all role players in the market with choices. And the moment you have choices, you can compare. And if you can compare, you can choose the best option for yourself. So I would like to run through a very short PowerPoint presentation to demonstrate that to you. And I think within the role players that I've mentioned, there's two aspects that I would like to highlight a little bit. And the one is production. That's the farmer. The other one is transport. Because I have the feeling that having a look at all the major roles of the supply chain, this is the two factions or participants that might be benefiting most from new technology. Remember, from a farmer side, he's always a price taker. So all inefficiencies, all mistakes that's been happening from him until the mill door goes for his pocket. So he is the ultimate payer for all inefficiencies. So by empowering the farmer, you're going to test all role players in the supply chain. But the logistical companies and the person or entities that can transport from A to B will play the most critical role in what the basis will be. And that will vary on a daily basis, not only depending on fuel cost, but what is the supply and demand for that service at certain points. So I'm going to demonstrate you from a farmer's point of view, and I'm going to point out how you can see this from any angle, whether you are a silo operator, a transporter, a processor, or a trader. And I'm going to take you through it now. So the first question that farmers or off-takers ask is, are you winning or are you losing? So you have to ask yourself, as the final party that pays the check, or as the ultimate party that picks up the check and that has to farm at a profitable level. So how do we get to the point where we provide you all the options? So if you would like to do price discovering on MX or the match exchange, we take you through a 4-step process that allows you with options, but also help you to discover your price or your base it at a specific point. And I will later come to the point where I show you what the power of the broker is in this role itself. So the first step is to create a scout. Now, in layman's terms, you can say you create your own shop where you would like to put your product in. So for the algorithm, you need only 2 items or 2 inputs into the system to create your shop. Namely, what are you producing and where are you producing that product? So for example, in this case, it's a farmer in Bothaville, and it's white maize that the farmer is producing. Our algorithm will then populate your shop with all the buyers on the system that's interested in your specific crop. So from here onwards, all communication will be specifically targeted to the people that really would like to communicate with each other. So all communication is relevant and to the people that would like to know what you would like to communicate. Remember, from the farmer side, we just had load shedding and we have backup, and I just would like to ask somebody to indicate to me if you can still hear me.
We can hear you, Cobus.
Okay, so our backup systems work. So everything went dark around me, but luckily the internet and the computer still work. So then I will carry on. Okay, so from the off-taker side or from the trader side, you can do exactly the same. So you create your shop where and what you would like to buy, and your shop will be populated with all farmers that's producing the product that you would like to buy at the point that you would like to buy. But I think the magic of the match exchange is you can create your shop anywhere in South Africa. And you can make sure that you make the best decision in which shop you would like to put your product. For example, you can create your shop on your farm, or you can create your shop at the nearest silo, or you can create your shop at any delivering point. And you don't have to make a decision beforehand. Seeing it from the trader or from the off-taker side, you can also create your shop at your processing plant. You can create your shop at any production area that you would like to source from. And you will, as well as the farmer can see the different participants in your shop, you from the off-taker side can also see all the farmers that's preparing to sell to you. And we call this scouts. So you can create different scouts to scout the market, who's willing to sell to you or to buy from you. And it's a very simple step. And I'm going to quickly take you through the app. And this is the cell phone version that you will see, and how we create the scout starting now. Click on Scout, create a new scout. I'm a farmer or off-taker or trader. Next, choose your category. Grains and oilseeds. I would like to sell something. What I would like to sell, white maize. Next, describe the area that you are offering this product. In this case, Bothaville. And you can even pinpoint your pin at the point of production, your farm, for example. Scout the market, and you have 9 people interested in your crop right now. So when you save it, it becomes visible to the market, and whoever has a scout from the buying side will now have 1 additional farmer. What I can see here is that currently I have 9 buyers that's currently interested in my crop in Bothaville. But remember, I can also, as the farmer, create a scout at every potential processing plant that my crop can reach. And that makes it very dynamic. So the farmer can start choosing between the different locations that's absolutely the best for him. But at the same time, the off-taker can also choose which location for the buyer is best to use. For example, if he does a deal on the level of the farmer, obviously he has to calculate certain cost to get the product to his premises, or the trader that's participating in the process, or whoever is helping the off-taker. So we're empowering both ends, the off-taking part or the farmer part, with the necessary power of choice. When you are at the point where all the participants that really would like to communicate to each other, you get to step 2. So step 2 is you would like to sell a portion of your crop as a farmer, or when you would like to start buying a portion of your annual need, then you have to communicate a little bit more information with all the participants in your shop. For example, you have to communicate what the product is, that's already there, the position as well, that's already created. The period of availability is now becoming important. When will this product that you have or that you're producing will be available, or when would you like to buy or have this product in hand? Also the price, and it's important to emphasize on our system, you can both negotiate a basis price or you can negotiate a fixed price. Payment terms as well, and the quality and the quantity, of course, is very important factors. So I'm now at the point where I create a lot. Your lot name is just your own admin name that you would like to name your lot. Your category is already there. It's now white maize in bulk that you need. You are in need of a YM1 quantity, 800 tons, for example. The ICO term that you would like to sell this at is X silo. You can call the silo where you would like to sell it at. It's Botawil, for example. And send West silo, create your delivering point, and you can create any delivering point on your farm as well. And now is the period of availability that you add. And this product of mine is available in June. It's the fixed price, but you can also see the basis price option there, where you can then also decide from what future price you would like to do this. The magic is I can see now all the participants in my room has created 14 lots that would like to negotiate with me. And as the farmer, I can have a look around in my shop, evaluate each of these offerings to me. And now I would like you to evaluate or imagine that you have an office within your shop, and you can invite all the potential buyers that you think have the biggest possibility to sell your crop to. And remember that you can at the same time evaluate all participants in the shop on your farm, at the silo, or at any delivering point. And my just add here is it's here where I think that the role players is going to redefine them, because now you can have a farmer, for example, that collaborates with a transporter to make sure that he can capitalize on a lucrative basis at point of production or a point of processing or at the harbor. And you can also have traders, for example, that collaborates with more parties to make sure that the farmer that most possibly don't have the ability to do business with a Tiger Milling is not used to that, to be part of this process of collaboration between farmer, trader, and transporter to make sure that the deal is done in an effective way. But you might have transporters that's all of a sudden venturing into the marketing processes, because some of the transporter companies knows the best how does it work on an offloading point, because the trading and the matching is done by the match exchange. So we feel that the more participants you have, the better we will discover the price at any potential point in the system. So where we get to step 3 is where you start negotiating. So now imagine you walk through your shop. You can pick the few guys that you feel, first of all, has the most lucrative price that you would like to negotiate. You go into your negotiating room, and in this case, I've just said there's 3 potential off-takers that can buy my product, and I can now negotiate that 5 Ps and 2 Qs that I indicated to you previously. So in my negotiating room, I can now start negotiating with them, and I will show you the process. So I click on the 14. This buyer is verified by us, that you can see that. And I start negotiating with this individual. I can negotiate with more than one party simultaneously. And you can see the red is where I still have to get consensus. The blue is where I already have consensus. So I alter my price slightly to horse trade a little bit with a potential off-taker or anybody else. And I say I'm accepting the volume of the specific off-taker and save it. So I have only 2 things that still has to be negotiated. On the same time, in real time, the counterparty gets notifications that I'm now busy negotiating with you. And you can see on the screen, there's a notification coming through. And I can have a look at what that specific notifications is and where that is, because it might be that I'm busy negotiating with more than one party. So that's step 2. Step 4, to get to your final match with a buyer that provides you the best possible option at that stage. So it might be on your farm, it might be delivered at the mill, etc. I'm freezing again for the next slide. Sorry Dries, ek het my beste regterhand hierso wat ek net
nee. Ons ken tegniese probleme.
Okay. So now you evaluate it, or you can see the party that you would like to negotiate with, and you would like to finalize this specific transaction. And as you can see on the screen, there's 2 notifications that came through, and I can have a look at those 2 notifications, and I can see he accepted my price, is a verified buyer by us, and I submit the match. And once I submitted the match, within real time, both parties will get a notification to declare the 2 counterparties with each other. And now there's a very dynamic process. Is a farmer might be matched with, for example, Tiger Milling, and the farmer has no clue how to do business with Tiger Milling. Tiger Milling says, but I need the product on my premises because this match might be on the farm. And so that's where Match Exchange feel that the market needs still a lot of market making in between the 2 parties. So what we will do as Match Exchange, we will invoice on behalf of the farmer. We can even transport on behalf of the farmer to the off-taker. And obviously, we facilitate the payment process to the farmer. But I think the biggest point that I would like to get across is our broker function on the platform. And we currently have 9 brokers on the system that you can tap into in terms of Match Exchange. But as already pointed out previously by some of the previous speakers, is that in South Africa, we are extremely proficient in this market making. And me, myself, 30 years in the business doing market making, I know that our participants in the market in terms of broking is of a very high standard. Everybody understands the market and everybody knows how the flow goes. So our system is open to anybody as a broker. The prerequisite for that is you must just pass our exam in terms on how our system works, and perhaps come and sit with us or via Zoom or Teams or any electronic method, and or you can come and sit at our offices to see our desktop version. Because on our desktop version, we provide brokers a fantastic vision of the market. You can see everything in the market. So you will start seeing what the basis currently is trading at port for export. You can also see what the basis is at the different points, not only where your customer currently has a need for, and you can start doing the market making between the two parties. In terms of transport, our brokers also plays a major role in getting the right transport rate. And why we do it currently manually, we feel that the transport companies will be a major stakeholder in the process of determining basis. That's why we don't have auctions on the system in terms of transport rates, but we rather collaborate with transporters. What we do is the actual transport rate that has been finalized between point A and point B gets part of our data, and we are already in a process with little data that to provide the market extremely valuable information, what the cost of certain routes is for specific commodities, etc. So again, we try to infuse the relationship that we have between the broker and the different parties, because agricultural, we feel, is still a very much a relationship-driven business. But infuse that with what we feel is currently the best technology in the market to bring parties together. And we make sure that we open up the system for everybody or anybody that would like to use it, to make sure that you're always on the winning side. Whether you are a processor, whether you are a farmer, whether you are a transporter or a trader or silo owner, we would like to make sure that we provide you with a tool that makes sure that you are on the winning side. So, Reese, I don't know if there's any questions for me. Perhaps I can mention a little bit of traction that we have, because that's very important. I'm proud to say that we really only hard launched at the 1st of February this year. Previously, we soft launched in different names as well, just to protect our process of testing the app and perhaps criticism as well. But since hard launch, we now have more than 2 million metric tons on offer on the system, scouts that's been created. So I feel we have almost 100% success rate in speaking to farmers and onboarding farmers in the process. And we are looking forward to NAMPO in enhancing that process. I will say 90% of the international traders currently is on our system. There's perhaps a few people that would like to be part of that more. It's just a matter of we have to get to them. I will say most of the South African traders is on the system, and I'm proud to say most of the listed companies also on the system. So what I can also say is that the smaller companies is very active on the system to start making MX, the match exchange, working. So we are looking forward to the future and looking forward to add the additional value to all participants in the market. So any questions perhaps, Dries?
Thank you very much, Kobus. That was very insightful. And ek dink vir ons lede en vir almal wat ook nog nie lede is van GOSA nie, wat binnekort gaan word. Ek gaan nou vir julle sê waar. Maar ek dink dis baie waardevolle inligting, en ek is baie beïndruk met wat julle pioniers nou al reg gekry het met die tegnologie wat tot ons beskikking is, en dan die ondervinding en die kennis wat julle gebruik en dit dan in platforms te omskep. Ek dink dit gaan ons mark verseker baie verander vorentoe, En ek aan die prosesseringskant is baie opgewonde daaroor. Ek glo ook die brokers en die traders, vir hulle sal daar ook geleenthede wees. Ons het op Menti het ons nog nie vrae nie. Ek het wel een vraag wat sommer direk vir my gestuur is do you feel the subscription fees hinder adoption?
Well, currently on the system you can participate free of charge, but then you participate as an unverified participant. We already see that the cost of being verified is almost nothing to participants if they see the benefit. And the verification process, we're going to differentiate even more in the verification process. So for currently, you can verify it as a farmer. You can also verify it as a farmer with X-farm load abilities. You can verify it as an off-taker or a buyer. But we're going to differentiate even further with that verification as well, to sort of give indication to the market on what the strength of the balance sheet is, but we are not there yet. So the annual fee for farmers is R1,000, and the annual fee for off-takers or buyers is R5,000. But we haven't come across anybody that see that as a barrier to entry. You can test the system for free. And once you would like to start participating on the system and you would like to submit a match, at that point we have to FICA your to get to you on, or to sign a contract eventually.
Ja. Okay. Daar's nog nie weer ander vrae nie, Kobus. Kobus, baie dankie. En ja, soos ek sê, dit was baie insigvol.